गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जननी जय राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे जय गौरानिता प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद Thank you, beautiful. This is the first canto. I don't know the. Mhm. And this one. Thank you. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकाकरोति वाचालं पङ्गोरं गायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताकस्वामिनिति नामिने नमः आचार्यपादाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथादामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. We're reading from 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 8, 54 till 53, 53 till 62. 53. 55, 54 would be the focus verse, but 53 we start from.
Text 53. O son of the king, now I shall speak unto you the mantra which is to be chanted with the process of meditation. One who carefully chants this mantra for 7 nights can see the perfect human beings flying in the sky.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the 12-syllable mantra for worshipping Lord Krishna. One should install the physical forms of the Lord, and with the chanting of the mantra, one should offer flowers and fruits and other varieties of foodstuffs, exactly according to the rules and regulations prescribed by authorities. But this should be done in consideration of time, place, and attendant conveniences and inconveniences.
One should worship the Lord by offering pure water, pure flower garlands, fruits, flowers, and vegetables which are available in the forest, or by collecting newly grown grasses, small buds of flowers, or even the skins of trees, and if possible, by offering tulsi leaves, which are very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp, and metal. In the forest, one can make a form with no more than earth and water and worship him according to the above principles. A devotee who has full control over his self should be very sober and peaceful and must be satisfied simply with eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest.
My dear Dhruva, besides worshipping the deity and chanting the mantra 3 times a day, you should meditate upon the transcendental activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different incarnations as exhibited by his supreme will and personal potencies.
One should follow in the footsteps of previous devotees regarding how to worship the Supreme Lord with the prescribed paraphernalia, or one should offer worship within the heart by reciting the mantra to the Personality of Godhead, who is non-different from the mantra.
Anyone who does engage in the devotional service of the Lord seriously and sincerely with his mind, words, and body, and who is fixed in the activities of prescribed devotional methods is blessed by the Lord according to his desire. If a devotee desires material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation from the material world, he is awarded with these results.
Text 61. If one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy, and he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification.
When Dhruva Maharaj, the son of the king, was thus advised by the great sage Narada, he circumambulated Narada, his spiritual master, and offered him respectful obeisances. Then he started from Madhuvan, which is always imprinted with the lotus footprints of Lord Krishna, and which is therefore especially auspicious.
After Dhruva entered Madhuvana forest to execute devotional service, the great sage Narada thought it wise to go to the king to see how he was faring within the palace. When Narada Muni approached, the king received him properly, offering him due obeisances. After being seated comfortably, Narada began to speak.
54. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मन्त्राणेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमायिन मायिं बुधा सपर्यं विविधैर्द्रव्यैर् देशकालविभागवित् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मन्त्राणेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमायिं बुधा सपर्यं विविधैर्द्रव्यैर् देशकालविभागवित् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मन्त्राणेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधा सपर्यं विविधैर्द्रव्यैर् देशकालविभागवित् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मन्त्राणेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधा सपर्यां विविधैर्द्रव्यैर् देशकालविभागवित् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मन्त्रेणानेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधा सपर्यं विविधैर्द्रव्यैर् देशकालविभागवित् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय मन्त्रेणानेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधा Saparyam vividar dravya desha kala vibhagavit. Word by word translation, if you like to repeat. Om, O my Lord. Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudevaya, unto the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva. Mantrena, by this hymn or mantra. Anena, this. Devasya, of the Lord. Kuryat, one should do. Dravyamayim, physical. Buddha, one who is learned. Saparyam, worship by the prescribed method. Vividaihi, with varieties. Dravyai, paraphernalia. Desha, according to country. Kala, time. Vibhagavit, one who knows the divisions. Translation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the 12-syllable mantra for worshipping Lord Krishna. One should install the physical forms of the Lord, and with the chanting of the mantra, one should offer flowers and fruits and other varieties of foodstuffs, exactly according to the rules and regulations prescribed by authorities. But this should be done in consideration of place, time, and attendant conveniences and inconveniences. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya is known as the Dwadashakshara mantra. This mantra is chanted by Vaishnava devotees, and it begins with pranava or omkara. There is an injunction that those who are not brahmanas cannot pronounce the pranava mantra. But Dhruva Maharaj was born a kshatriya. He at once admitted before Narad Muni that as kshatriya he was unable to accept Narada's instructions of renunciation and mental equilibrium, which are the concern of a brahmana. Still, although not a brahmana but a kshatriya, Dhruva was allowed, on the authority of Narada, to pronounce the pranava omkara. This is very significant. Especially in India, the caste brahmanas object greatly when persons from other castes who are not born in brahmana families recite this pranava mantra. But here is tactic proof that if a person accepts the Vaishnava mantra or Vaishnava way of worshipping the deity, he is allowed to chant the pranava mantra. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord personally accepts that anyone, even one of low species, can be elevated to the highest position and go back home, back to Godhead, simply if he worships properly. The prescribed rules, as stated here by Narad Muni, are that one should accept the mantra through a bona fide spiritual master and hear the mantra in the right ear. Not only one should chant or murmur the mantra, but in front of him he must have the deity or physical form of the Lord. Of course, when the Lord appears, it is no longer a physical form. For example, when an iron rod is made red hot in a fire, it is no longer iron, it is fire. Similarly, when we make a form of the Lord, whether of wood or stone or metal or jewels or paint, or even a form within the mind, it is a bona fide spiritual transcendental form of the Lord. Not only must one receive the mantra from the bona fide spiritual master like Narad Muni or his representative in the disciplic succession, but one must chant the mantra. And not only must one chant, but he should also offer whatever foodstuff is available in this part of the world, according to time and convenience. The method of worship, chanting the mantra and preparing the forms of the Lord, is not stereotyped, nor is it exactly the same everywhere. It is specifically mentioned in this verse that one should take consideration of the time, place, and available conveniences. Our Krishna consciousness movement is going on throughout the entire world, and we also install deities in different centers. Sometimes our Indian friends, puffed up with concocted notions, criticize. This has not been done. That has not been done. But they forget this instruction of Narad Muni that to one of the greatest Vaishnavas, Dhruva Maharaj, one has to consider the particular time, country, and conveniences. What is convenient in India may not be convenient in the Western countries. Those who are not actually in the line of acharyas or who personally have no knowledge of how to act in the role of acharya unnecessarily criticize the activities of the ISKCON movement in countries outside of India. The fact is that such critics cannot do anything personally to spread Krishna consciousness. If someone does go and preach, taking all the risks and allowing all considerations for time and place, it might be that there are changes in the manner of worship, but that is not at all faulty according to Shastra. Srimad Veeraraghava Acharya, an Acharya in the disciplic succession of Ramanuja Sampradaya, has remarked in this commentary that Chandalas, or conditioned souls who are born in lower than Shudra families, can also be initiated according to circumstances. The formalities may be slightly changed here and there to make them Vaishnavas. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that his name should be heard in every nook and corner of the world. How is this possible unless one preaches everywhere? The cult of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Bhagavad Dharma, and he especially recommends Krishna Katha, or the cult of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. He recommends that every Indian, considering this task to be para upakara, or welfare activities, take the Lord's message to other residents of the world. Other residents of the world does not refer only to those who are exactly like the Indian Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, or the caste Brahmanas who claim to be Brahmanas because they were born in the family of Brahmanas. The principle that only Indians and Hindus should be brought into Vaishnav cult is a mistaken idea. There should be propaganda to bring everyone to the Vaishnav cult. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. There's no bar to propagating the Krishna consciousness movement even among people who are born in Chandala, Malecha, or Yavana families. Even in India, this point has been enunciated by Srila Sanatana Goswami in his book, Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is Smriti and is authorized Vedic guide for Vaishnavas in their daily behavior. Sanatana Goswami says that as bell metal can turn to gold when mixed with mercury in a chemical process, so by the bona fide Diksha or initiation method, anyone can become a Vaishnava. One should take initiation from a bona fide spiritual master coming in the disciplic succession, who is authorized by the predecessor spiritual master. This is called Diksha Vidana. Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita, Vyapashritya, one should accept a spiritual master. But by this process, the entire world can be converted to Krishna consciousness. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so that's what Srila Prabhupada says. Anybody has any comments or questions? Yeah, perfect. Perfect purport. Yes. We have a microphone for Prabhu.
Bill. Thank you so much for opening the floor so early. My question is, sometimes the criticism is so strong that aspiring devotees become affected. And is this because of false ego or material desires? Because sometimes the criticism can be quite harsh, quite intense. Do you have any advice or suggestions about that?
Some time immemorial, there has been criticism. There's been so much intense conflict between the devas and the asuras, beginning from time when the creation started. There's always been difference of opinion. There's always been conflict. And conflict can be dealt in Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. Criticism can also be taken in Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Having said that, sometimes, there is this modern concept to say, nobody can make you feel bad. Nobody can put you down. But the fact is, the environment does affect us. The gunas does get to us. So it's not such a sattva guna statement to say nobody can make you feel, unless we are total tamos guna and nothing can penetrate our consciousness. Who we associate with, what kind of dialogues we have, it does affect us. So it should not be a surprise if there is conflict, if there is fights, if there is criticism. We should be surprised. Srila Prabhupada said that. Be surprised if people stay. Don't be surprised if people leave. So one of the highlights of Kali Yuga is Kalo Nashtadrishamesha. We have lost our vision. We've become so filled with ignorance. The mind is thinking of trivial things, and we hold on to things that are unimportant, unnecessary. So the anarthas are stronger than the faith aspect. So this is no surprise. So here, this beginning of Brahmanas, we are entitled to chanting, we are entitled to all the Vedas, other people are not. By the way, I speak from experience. I come from Brahman family. I've heard plenty. There is so much of this superficial nonsense to look down upon other people, especially the kind of group that I come from. We are Madhva Brahmanas. So a lot of my relatives, family members, they really feel superior. They feel so superior that they think everybody else doesn't know anything. Everybody else is not following. This is not Vaishnavism. ISKCON is not really Vaishnavism. They really believe that. And I can actually see in their own lifestyle, their own life, these things happening, just like some time ago in the history, even when the planets were distributed, who gets which planet? Sun planet, moon planet, Mercury, Shukracharya got Venus planet. So when the division was happening, there was this whole discussion. What about human beings? Should they be dominated more by Daiva Guna, or the Devatas should rule them, or should the demons also get a share of ruling the human beings? So in this discussion, one of the important points came up, one of the principles came up. What does actually Brahmana mean? Or what does Deva mean? What does Daiva mean? What does it mean to be a devotee? And we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the greatest example, Vritrasura. And he's actually a demon. We see Prahlad Maharaj, he has DNA of the demon, more demon than that, than Hiranyakashipu. So we see the examples again and again and again. It is not about the quantity of DNA. It's the quality of the character, the quality of the devotional element. So here Prabhupada is saying, but here is a tactic proof that if a person accepts Vaishnava mantra or Vaishnava way of worshipping the deity, he's allowed to chant the Pranava mantra. We would really have to define these words here. First of all, what does the word accept mean? To receive, yeah. And what does that mean? Receive with what sense organ? Yeah? Yeah? Anything else? How do we, what does it mean receive? I mean, to each of us. It's not like I'm not looking for a perfect answer. Yeah? heart with gratitude. What else? What does it mean to us, receiving? Being open? Yes. Yes. Tasting, experiencing, yeah. Sincerity, yeah, accepting it with sincerity, with vulnerability, submission. Okay? But what does it mean? Accepting with vulnerability, accepting with sincerity, accepting with gratitude, acting. Yeah, it has to transform into action. It has to, we have to see it to believe it. It's not just about telling, we have to show. So again, this point, that Vaishnav mantra, Vaishnav way of worshipping, unfortunately, just like the devas were fighting, we are superior, and the Rakshasas and the demons said, no, we also have a right. Why don't we give choice to people? And that's why we are mixed. We are mixed with some goodness also, we are mixed with ignorance also, we are mixed with passion also. So that can filter within our Vaishnav ways of performing deity worship. We can perform deity worship in Sattvagun. We can perform in Rajagun. Oh, I am the best. I'm the best, whatever it is. I'm the best singer, I'm the best dresser, I'm the best whatever. And then we can perform in Tamas Guna. Oh, I have to do it. Okay, I'll do it. And Rajas Guna also means I am better than others. So that basically we're controlled by the modes. It's not accepting Vaishnav mantra or Vaishnava way of worshipping. It's basically we're stuck. Most of the times, when in my professional life also, I see people saying, this is the way this is my free will, I'm doing things with my free will. But actually it's just 3 modes of material nature. It's not 3 modes. It's not free will. Free will means Krishna's will. Free will means letting the Lord take control. And so I would say the hospital is open. I heard about this example. Associating with devotees sometimes can be like 2 sandpaper, against each other. It can be rough. But as the sandpaper gets refined and refined and refined, that's the only way, by the way, we stay in the association of devotees. Shishtarodani ittu kashta bidiso Vishnuve. There's a verse that says, the only way to get rid of all the troubles is to be in the association of devotees, but because of my own stubborn, adamant mind, even that is going to be very difficult. There's no way out. Okay, yeah, so it's up to us. And here Prabhupada is saying, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, spreading Krishna consciousness, is the main purpose. And the best thing we can do is get out of the way. So let the Lord's will prevail. Because if I think this is the way the philosophy should be present, this is the way the mantras should be pronounced, this is the way kirtan should be sung, this is the way things should be run, the more I say I'm getting in the way of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Because we are not, ISKCON doesn't really have a copyright over Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Already so many other organizations are chanting that mantra. It's not, we cannot say anymore, no, this is only meant for those. We shouldn't become like these caste brahmanas, thinking that only ISKCON is capable of giving the love of Lord Chaitanya. And ISKCON, according to my mind, what is ISKCON? Has to be through this and through that. And then we become very narrow-minded, and then we get stuck.
So, yes, there are other organizations that do. No, there is no copyright on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You're right. There are other organizations. We do have the Gaudiya Math. We have under Narayan Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj. There's so many. but there's a concern there that there's too much like a competitive mood. So how do we avoid that competitive mood and just stay focused on pleasing our Gurudev and Prabhupada? How do we, in other words, not because the tendency is if you're fault finding, you're trying to raise yourself up. If you're fault finding others, then you're trying to make, it's an insecurity, and you're trying to raise yourself up, make yourself more. But without, I guess what I'm trying to say is, how would the best approach be when we are presenting the mission of ISKCON and the Siddhanta and keeping our love and devotion pure and intact without the critical nature toward other groups, but appreciating them, but staying true to what we're trying to do here. Does that make sense?
I mean, you had a question and you answered it also.
Did I? Okay, how did I answer it? I didn't hear the answer. Maybe I'm sorry.
We should be non-judgmental, we should be humble, we should be sincere and dedicated to our spiritual master and focus on, basically you answered saying, mind your own business. Yeah, don't run around comparing, being critical, mind your own business. So that's sattva guna. Because I cannot judge and say, that person cannot get Lord Chaitanya through that guru. Who am I to say? I don't know. That's up to Krishna. I stay dedicated to ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada, but I don't go around criticizing other people. I mind my own business. Yeah. Microphone. She has something.
Hare Krishna. So this is such a very interesting topic to me because in my high school, when I was growing up, I went to school in Alachua, Florida, which is a big Hare Krishna community with all sorts of devotees. They got the Gaudiya Math, they got the purely Prabhupads, they got everything there. They got the Ritviks, everyone. So the first devotees that I ever befriended in high school, one of my best friends in high school, and her mom really, she took me to the ISKCON temple for the first time, and they had deities and told me about Krishna. They're Gaudiya Math devotees. And this friend, Radha, her name is Radha, she recently is because devotee kids, especially if they go to a normal high school, they sometimes go away for a little bit, and then she's recently coming back. She sees that I'm practicing, and she wants to, befriend me and bond over this again. And the way that she wants to bond is, okay, I'll come to your programs, and you come to our programs. You come see our temple, and I want to because I love her, and I don't want to put so much emphasis on this difference. They're Narayan Maharaj followers, whatever. But I've gotten a lot of mixed advice. So I'm just curious, how do we maintain those relationships between Vaishnavas, being careful, but also not letting it create some hard-heartedness between us?
Okay, that's such a relevant question because I have similar experiences. The answer would be the whole concept of be, do, have. You know the concept of be, do, have. So Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, in other words. Sattva Gun is about being a Prabhupadanuga. There's a huge difference between being a Prabhupadanuga and doing Prabhupadanuga. I may jump up and down in Guru Puja Jai Prabhupada, that's doing Prabhupadanuga, but that doesn't mean I am Prabhupadanuga. And having Prabhupada means being in ISKCON, that's another level. It's something tangible. I mean, where else do we have things we have in ISKCON? Even practically. Whether it's a number of temples, whether it's a number of gurus, whether it's a number of facilities, or a number of kirtaniyas, number of good speakers, whatever you name it, there is no other place than ISKCON that has that. We don't have to bluff, or not bluff, how do you call it? Show off. There's no need to show off. Sun rises, he doesn't need to say, hey, hello, here I am. everybody knows here I am. So we know what Prabhupada did, we know the empowerment. There's not much in that level that we need to fight. Your friend, the people can't see. All we need to go any part of the world, 2 words. Hare Krishna, you can make friends. Jai Prabhupada or Hare Krishna, that's it. You don't need, maybe other organizations, they don't have that. More like eating like that, a little bit. So it's already there. But now with the friends, etc., how much being am I established in? My experience is the more convinced I am, I won't get affected by those situations. And if that person is mature, and as I told you, we have more kirtans, we have more classes. If we really truly want, and it's Krishna's will, it's Lord Chaitanya's will, it's Kalachandji's will, we can influence them and say, hey, we have this. Again, as I say, do they have this temple? Do they have Kalachandji? So we do have more. But it is about the relationship. How open is this person? How wise is this person? And what is the intention and motivation of that person? Right? And what is the intention and motivation for you?
I'm wondering also about like going to those programs that she's inviting and this type of thing, like because that sangha that she's with is Narayan Maharaj follows, and from her experience, like she has no
about Dallas, right?
No,
not here.
No,
yeah.
But from her experience, she's never like really heard about the rivalry. She's only just heard like they follow Srila Prabhupada and Narayan Maharaj, like, so she doesn't really see. And I've talked to her about this. She's very innocent. Like she has no intention of like bringing me over to that side or anything like that. So that's why I'm curious.
See, the answer is here in this verse and purport. The last sentence of the translation. Desha kala vibhagavit. This should be done in consideration of place, time, and circumstances. That's we say, right? Desha kala patra. We've heard that regularly. I would say in sattva guna, this would be me. Again, it depends on our personality type, what kind of personality we have, and then that'll play out itself. Personally, for me, sattva guna would mean, hey, I really like hanging out with you. If we could sit and study Srimad Bhagavatam, we can do Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya bhajans together. I would like something like, I really like the way you feel for Krishna and the depth that you have. Now, I'd like to experience that together. So every day we can study 30 minutes of Narottam Das Thakur bhajans. There's no possibility of politics or any of the drama there. And at the same time, there is association, there is sangha. So that would be sattva guna for me. Rajas guna for me would be, I will try to show her that I can still go to your program and I can still, try to prove to myself and the ISKCON people that I'm very loyal, but I will also still go. That would be rajas for me. Again, I'm not saying everybody's rajas is that. Depends on the power, the capacity, the intention. Somebody might have a different vision. I'm thinking of Bhaktitirtha Swami. He would have a completely different vision if he would go there. He would naturally become the star. Everybody would start following him. It depends on who we are. And I need to understand my own limitations. My personality type is I adapt very quickly. I'm like water. So I would be very careful where I hang out. That would be sattva gun for me to protect. And tamas gun would be completely neglect that person, and also could be the other opposite, bring her into my program and not go to her program. So that would be tamas guna. Yeah. So I would say spend time. Like what I did with a few people is I started these bhajans every week talking. So they come, the Bengali people come. They may not be completely sold out to Srila Prabhupada, but they love these bhajans. They come and it's a process. And the goal is to uplift the consciousness both of mine and the other person. This is the balance, this Desha Kala Vibhagavit. Who is the person, where you are, what's your limitation, what's your nature, what's my conditioning. Yeah. Any other thoughts for her? Any other experiences?
I've asked this question before to my spiritual master, and he said, and this could be for me, he said, Prasadam, Kirtan, don't talk philosophy. That's where we start to get confused, and they start,
Exactly.
So, but I appreciate your point in that it's for the person. I could see somebody like Hirdananda Maharaj, he's not going to not go talk philosophy. He's, he's going to be, this is our philosophy, this is where, boom, 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 boom.
And it's right for him.
Right, exactly. So I appreciate that that perspective of how we need to know what position we are, where are we as devotees, what's our service. And it could be from just kirtan prasadam and no philosophy, or it could be you're a big preacher and
Yeah. I've been invited so many times to these programs, to share, to speak. I mean, I was at the UN event as one of the panel speakers, and they were just talking all about saving the world, no God, no Krishna. They want the kingdom of God without God. They want Rama Raja without Rama. On and on and on. I thought, this is my opportunity to follow the instruction of my spiritual master. And when my turn came, I said, look, without understanding karma, without understanding nature, without letting the divine, we cannot change anybody's life. We cannot change anything. None of these programs are going to be successful if we don't understand the purpose and the goal and the cause behind all that. I don't think they liked it so much, but hundreds of people watched. This was a huge event. This is a whole thing about women and empowerment. And I brought up Gita. I brought up God. I didn't say, hey, you want kingdom of God without God. I didn't say that, but I meant that. That was for me, that's an austerity. Because as I said, my nature is to comply and smile and not make a strong statement. But my Guru Maharaj specifically told me, when I opened my NGO and everything, he said, engage people in devotional service. Don't forget that point. So then I thought, wow, this is a huge event. If I don't do it now, when am I going to follow my spiritual master's instruction? I cannot keep waiting. But that's me. For someone else, the austerity would be shut up and wait for the right occasion. Don't just start being fanatic from the beginning. Like Prabhupada is using this word cult here. I mean, that's quite heavy. We wouldn't want to use that. That was a time, during Prabhupada's time, back then it didn't mean what it means today. Desha Kala Patra. We cannot use statements that can disturb the minds because that's not what Prabhupada meant. So understanding the spiritual master's instruction is important.
When I hear a purport from Srila Prabhupada like this in about time, place, and circumstance, and he even talks about the Western countries, I start to really think about our presentation of Krishna consciousness here in the West. I was thinking about how, I wasn't born in a Krishna conscious family. I never wore a dhoti. I never wore a kurta. These were things that I did after I became a devotee. And so I was curious about your thoughts about the fact that, in the 60s and 70s, the real nature of America was this, how should I say, there's a word for it, counterculture, right? And so when they saw this opportunity to be counterculture, it was like something wonderful. We get to put on dhotis, we get to shave our heads and this stuff. I don't see that attitude so much in America now. And so I'm curious if we need to start to shift maybe in our thoughts and how we're presenting ourselves and our philosophy, and not so much, the clothes that we wear or some of the things that we do that are very foreign to Americans, and are things that they see as impediments, maybe to give them a presentation on what really bhakti is.
I mean, from this purport, Prabhupada is speaking about some things, like he says about food, he says about other customs. Sometimes it may not be comfortable for people. So we may not want to approach with that. hey, you have to give up meat eating and you have to stop eating onion and garlic. Sometimes they do that in India. The first thing they bring is that. First thing they say, to become a Hare Krishna devotee, this is what you should not do. This is, people are like, oh. So we present ourselves as everything about us is how we dress, what we eat, what we do, what we don't do. That's a superficial part of our culture. I will go back to this idea of being a devotee, because the dhoti and how we dress is the doing aspect. Sometimes, again, depending on circumstances, depending on our natures, we will adapt, we will do things. But being is more important. People don't come to Krishna consciousness, oh, those bed sheets look nice, I want to wear it. That's not why they come. Yes, of course, prasadam is a little bit more of a tangible benefit than the attire. They do come for that. But they come because of friendship. They come because of sense of belonging. They come because of that element of connection. So I would say, I mean, for me personally, I would focus more on that. Am I being connected? Am I being authentic? Am I being friendly? Am I creating an environment where people feel a sense of belonging? I would focus more on that. Then naturally we will get the results of those things, that a person who creates a situation with belonging and friendship and connection and communication. In other words, if I try to establish, first everybody should dress in this way, then we will connect and create an environment to belong and friendliness, it doesn't work like that. But if I say, I will work on being friendly, being communicative, connecting with this person, being kind, being compassionate, then naturally the person will or will not wear the dress that we believe in, or the culture we believe. I would say it depends also on you. What dress do we feel more comfortable when we go out to preach? I mean, for me, it's very easy because I'm Indian. I like wearing sari. UN event, I go with the sari. People are like, oh, that's so pretty. It's very easy for me. It's not, but maybe for the men, the question would be.
Well, I think that's a very interesting point. I think in our austerity, we have to start to think about what's, about being.
The intention.
Yeah. And
why are we wearing it? What's our intention?
Well, yes, but we also have to understand the perspective of others, right? So our austerity might be to wear clothes that are that is familiar with people, not just clothes. I'm not talking about, but I'm talking about language too. All of a sudden we start talking hard, right? We start talking ISKCON language, Hari Bol, Prabhu, how are you? This guy's like, what are you talking about? So my point is that sometimes our austerity has to be in the thinking of, in my opinion, has to be what is the perspective of the other person and how we're presenting ourselves, and what is the principles.
And like Kunti Prabhu said earlier, being open to see where Krishna wants me to be. Strong, firm, certain principles we should be strong, firm, maybe regulative principles or something. But then there comes a time where it's about the detail. So if we can be very clear about the principle and the detail. We have done, as a movement, we've done several mistakes in prioritizing details over principles, then losing everything.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. The question that I wanted to ask is doing part of being? How much of doing is part of being? And in the sense of when we go for outreach and things like that, of course, it's time, place, and circumstance. But when we are, say we go to a church, people know that this is a place of worship of a specific kind. And they are fine with certain attires that they see in the church. Similarly, do we change how we do it even when they know this is a place of worship instead of it being an outreach? That's basically my question.
See, being, doing, they're connected. Very much part connection. The idea is being is in Sattva Guna, doing is in Rajas Guna. Action aspect is the doing. And so if I prioritize, it's basically the analogy I would give is horse before the cart or cart before the horse. What is leading me? What am I prioritizing? Even as an organization. You know that story, right? There was this person walking on the ocean shore, and he saw this starfish, and he threw it back into the ocean. And the other person comes and says, "What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Millions of these. You cannot make any difference." He takes another one, throws it back into the ocean. He says, "It made a difference to that one." So being is about that. Does it clarify or?
Yeah, it does.
It's interconnected.
Doing from the perspective of being
Yeah.
rather than the opposite way.
Yeah, we are not saying only be, don't do. We need to do. Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, "Hey, you're a warrior, think about yourself as a warrior, sit down, do your affirmations." No, he said, "Pick up the bow, do your duty." But first he aligned Arjuna to be the warrior. Otherwise he was running all around the place, thinking of this, thinking of that.
So the question is for being, which is basically how I understand as sambandha.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
sense of our identity, who
Exactly.
am I, how am I relating to this,
Right.
and things like that. So and the question of what is it to be a Prabhupadanuga? Is it jumping up and down or being? How does somebody who's like a foot soldier figure that out? Because there are so many different opinions
Mhm.
based on who we might associate with.
Mm.
So what is the way to approach being?
Yeah,
so to
so
speak?
Prabhupada gives that answer in this purport. That we have the Krishna consciousness movement. It's going on throughout the entire world. We have deities established. We take initiation from the spiritual master. We accept the mantra. We chant. So that's the first step. There's no doubt, no question. He doesn't say wear this, wear that. Oh, eat that, eat prasad, yes. Take shelter of the deities. Stand in front of Krishna and say, "I'm starting my process. Many, many lifetimes, Krishna, I have forgotten, I have neglected you. This lifetime, please accept me as your servant. May your will be done." That is the first step. Then, understanding and to not be in tamas and rajas, the method of worship, it's not stereotype, nor is it exactly same everywhere. I may become a devotee here in Dallas at the lotus feet of Kalachandji, then I may go to Vrindavan and see that things are different. And I don't go around saying this is right, that is wrong. We don't do that. We mind our own business. I take care of my chanting, I take care of my sadhana, I take care of my relationship with the spiritual master. Unless my spiritual master gives me a service, please go around, correct everybody, criticize everybody, be the reformer. This is your dharma, this is your duty, do it. Unless we are given very clear instructions, we mind our own business. I tell you, this statement has saved me so much. I have in Mayapur, I have on my mirror. The first thing I look at in the morning, I look at myself and say, "Thank you, Krishna." And I also look at the mind your own business. Okay, thank you. So constantly remind myself. That's the way we can stay sane. And it's
So my question is, in this text 53, the translation says, if you chant this mantra for 7 nights, you can see perfect human beings flying in the sky.
Yes, thank you.
So and then in the purport is saying, these are siddhis, and then we're not focusing on siddhis.
Yes.
So my question is, the religion of science is coming up with siddhis, the latest iPhone, the latest this, and we are figuring out ways to use it in Krishna's service. So why can't we also focus on these siddhis about seeing flying people and try to incorporate that instead of trying to spend so much time, energy, money, trying to get these other siddhis from other philosophies?
Siddhi. Ah. Which siddhi would you like? My mother Kunti is asking you, may get your benediction, the moment of truth. What is it? What is your siddhi?
Well, I mean, I haven't meditated on that, but this just how far
She
out
needs
would it
time,
be?
Mother Kunti.
No, I mean, how far out would it be if devotees could just show people, here, look at these humans flying in the sky? I mean, like, wouldn't you get followers like that?
Actually, we are a movement. Srila Prabhupada created magic. If we want to go back all the way, 5,000 years ago, Draupadi called out to the Lord. An unlimited amount of sari just started appearing right in the middle of the assembly of Hastinapur. And then Gajendra, an elephant, an animal, called out, and the Lord rushed to come, and all the devatas were watching this. He even forgot to jump on the Garuda. Garuda had to fly down seeing Vishnu jump. Okay, more magic than that. And then the most sinful Ajamil was lying on the bed. He's about to die, choked to death, and he calls out his son, Narayana. And Krishna magically appears, Krishna sends, magically sends these Vishnu Dutas. They come there, Krishna even doesn't come, just in holy name, had the power and the potency to save that sinful Ajamil. And we can go on and on. The gopis in Vrindavan call Krishna in the middle of the night. They all run, leave their homes, leave their babies, leave their families, leave the in-laws, run in the middle of the night listening to the flute of Krishna. You want more siddhi and more magic than that? Or you think of little Dhruva, 5-year-old, he runs off into the forest because the stepmother is insulting him and the father didn't prioritize him. He sits there and starts to fast and eat leaves and berries and breathes on air, and he takes the whole air of the universe, and then all the devatas get agitated. More magic than that. Why? Because he was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya that we just started chanting today in the morning. Or we're talking about little Prahlad born in the womb of Asura, very, very Maha Asura family, full loaded DNA of Asuras, and then he starts chanting Narayan's name. And then he's thrown off the mountain, nothing happens to him. He's left in the room full of poisonous snakes, nothing happens to him. He's administered poison, he gets stronger. More magic than that. And we can go on and on. What else? Let's see. Modern day. Modern means a few hundred years ago. Madhvacharya, he appears, he's Hanuman himself. By the way, he appears. He's standing in the ocean shore. Then he sees this boat appearing at a distance. And then he saves that boat which is about to drown. And the boat arrives on the shore. What is inside this Gopi Chandan that the businessman gives as a present? It's Krishna and Balaram inside the Tilak block. More magic than that. And then the deity is established. And now, 500 years ago, there was this devotee, Kanakadas. He is born as a non-Brahmana. Everybody is critical. Everybody is criticizing him, and he sings a song, and that deity turns around, breaks the wall. The deity, this same deity that Madhvacharya found, turns around. More magical than that. The point is, who are we talking about? Exactly, who are we talking about? And what to speak of even Ramanujacharya? Many miracles, many self-manifested deities started appearing. And even more recent example, we have Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We have Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who is fighting all these black magicians and politicians and all sorts of nonsense people just with the power and potency of his purity and the holy name. And I cannot even start, because we're ending the class, that would be Srila Prabhupada. The miracles and the magic that Srila Prabhupada created is right in front of our eyes. Kalachandji, Bhagavan, found Srila Prabhupada. More magic than that. I think there's no word to match the magic of Kalachandji being here in Dallas. That's like mystical, magical experience of Srila Prabhupada, finding him and Kalachandji jumping all the way from there to the altar here to be available to all of us. So we are more than Siddhi. I'll end with this story. One of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya was early in the morning, woke up, everybody was getting ready for darshan, and all these disciples got very excited. Guru Maharaj, there's this person with Siddhi. He's flying all around the town. You should come and watch it. Guru Maharaj said, we have to go for darshanarthi. Let's get ready. What are you running around the town looking at? But Guru Maharaj, this is amazing, Guru Maharaj. This Siddhi of this person is flying all around the town. People are amazed, Guru Maharaj. You should come and see. He said, please go back to your duties. Get your artik plate ready. We need to do artik for the deities. Let's do our part. And these devotees were just too overwhelmed with this siddhi of this fellow in the town. So finally, this is a true story. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur speaks about that. So this Guruji had like this, our Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya, he had this little neem stick, toothpick. He said, okay, what did you tell me? What's going on outside? There's this fellow with mystic powers. He has this broomstick he puts in between his legs and he's flying all around the town. He said, I see. And then he took this neem stick, he just took it and flew all around the around the temple. And he came down, he said, I told you it's not a big deal. Can we go and do darshanarti now? So the point is, whether we're speaking about Sanatan Goswami, who doesn't value the touchstone which can make gold, or we're talking about our Vaishnava Acharya who had mystic power, but he just considered it as tucha, insignificant, in front of the emotion and the affection and the devotion that we can feel for Srila Prabhupada, our Acharyas, Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baldev, Subhadra Sudarshan, and Shri Radha Kalachandji. It's way superior. So we are not, there's no comparison between, why don't we show some siddhi to people? What kind of people would you attract then? You only attract people who are interested in something very, very cheap, very mundane magic. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. So the point is, what is the horse? Because the question about siddhi would be putting the cart before the horse. What will we accomplish then? What Prabhupada wants to accomplish, that's magic. That's siddhi. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari. It was not a class.